What's up, guys? Today's video is about cities, specifically affordable big cities. If you're anything like me when I was younger, or really even now with my family of 4, we have a very strong desire to live in a big city. And when I say big city, I'm talking about cosmopolitan city living. Arts and culture, vibrancy, sports, diversity, public transit, and just influence from the country and the world at large. Oh, and jobs. A lot of people, when they're looking for city living, one of the big factors also is jobs. High-paying jobs, upward mobility in their particular industry. Anyway, the big trade-off with having all of these amenities and opportunities at your fingertips is going to be the high price tag. So today, I'm going to give you 5 places to consider where you can not only get a decent city lifestyle for a cheaper price tag, but also have easy access to an even larger, more international city. All of these cities are in the United States, and just for fun, I'm going to be ranking them in order of my personal preference. So at number 5, I have Providence, Rhode Island. I haven't personally been here in a really long time. I was a high schooler visiting Brown University almost 2 decades ago, so I don't know it very well. As mentioned, you have the prestigious Ivy League institution, but there's also the very renowned and equally prestigious Rhode Island School of Design. And just to further supplement and support this arts community, Rhode Island offers many tax incentives to professional artists who do business in designated districts. The city of Providence has a nice, well-preserved, extremely historic downtown. I mean, it's one of the oldest cities in the country. So there are several exciting urban core neighborhoods to explore. Federal Hill and West End are a couple of those neighborhoods that get discussed often and are places that I'd really like to check out for myself. But perhaps the most appealing thing about downtown Providence for me is the fact that I can be into Boston's South Station in just 30 minutes on the Acela Express. Of course, the Acela train is usually going to be very expensive, so if you're going to do this regularly, it would be a lot more practical to take the MBTA, which is Boston's regional transit system. The normal train will take about an hour, but cost a lot less. At number 4, I've got Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, a casual observer might associate Milwaukee with beers and bikes because of Miller Beer and Harley-Davidson motorcycles. But I can tell you, as great as those things might be, there's so much more to Milwaukee. If you're into music, you've probably heard of Summerfest, which is billed as the world's largest music festival and happens every summer in Milwaukee, except for this year, 2020, because of COVID-19. You have the Milwaukee Art Museum, which is internationally acclaimed and gorgeous, designed by Santiago Calatrava. I was also extremely impressed by the dense building stock throughout the urban core, which makes the area very, very walkable, even if it's not quite as vibrant as it could be yet. So the historic 3rd Ward was my personal favorite neighborhood. I also really enjoyed Easttown, which is where the art museum's located. But I by no means am an expert on Milwaukee neighborhoods, and I believe that there are some cool places that are actually away from the urban core. So there's definitely a lot to check out. And I should also note that my last trip to Milwaukee was almost 5 years ago, which is before they had opened the Hop, their streetcar loop that goes around downtown Milwaukee. So I imagine that it's even more vibrant now. And of course, if you want your fill of big league sports, you've got the Bucks and the Brewers in town, so you can attend NBA and MLB games at a very affordable price, I might add. But there's no NFL team, or NHL, or MLS. Well, did I mention that downtown Milwaukee is just a 90-minute train ride to downtown Chicago? That's my segue. That's how we do it here on this channel. Amtrak has 8 daily trains between Milwaukee and Chicago. And I've actually been on this one several times in both directions. And it's pretty comfortable and pretty cheap. So it goes without saying that you can find all of the sports and many other things in Chicago if you ever want to get an escape from Milwaukee. Number 3 on my list is Sacramento, California. Sacramento is easily the most overlooked of California's big 4, with Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego getting most of the attention. But as the state capital of California, Sacramento has a ton of government employees, and they also have a very large healthcare industry as well. The city boasts a light rail system with 3 lines. There is a very charming Old Town neighborhood, and downtown and midtown at times can be very vibrant and bustling. Also, when we were visiting, my wife and I really enjoyed a lot of the Asian food options available. If you wanted to take it up a notch, you could visit San Francisco, which is on another level for Asian food. Amtrak takes you from downtown Sacramento to Richmond, California in about 90 minutes. And from there, you can connect to San Francisco's BART system. About 3 or 4 years ago, my wife and I took the train with our 1-year-old from San Jose actually all the way up to Sacramento. And it was pretty uneventful, pretty much on time, and pretty comfortable too. True, it does sound like a terrible idea for a daily commute, but I can tell you that there are many people doing that, and more every day as prices in the Bay Area get increasingly crazy. Coming in at number 2 on my list is Baltimore, Maryland. No surprise that we're back in the Northeast, where there's excellent transit infrastructure. Transit utilization is ingrained as part of the cultural fabric, and there are a ton of dense neighborhoods, actually entire cities, developed before the automobile. Now I have a soft spot for Baltimore in particular. I'd visited several times, it was enjoyable, but what really changed was several years ago when I organized a scouting trip for urban leaders and advocates from my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida. The idea was to go see another city more intimately and learn from their experiences, their challenges, and their successes. We ended up deciding on Baltimore because we saw it as a peer city with similar characteristics, obstacles, and resources. And that trip was awesome and eye-opening. We learned a lot about their startup scene, the co-working community, arts community, food and nightlife. We even met directly with local government officials to learn about their housing and revitalization initiatives. The whole experience stood in stark contrast to the negative reputation often associated with Baltimore. Anyway, this video is not about that trip. The point is that Baltimore has a lot of positive things going for it. There's excellent seafood, a top-notch symphony orchestra, Johns Hopkins University, and a couple very storied sports franchises in the Baltimore Orioles and Ravens. As far as cool neighborhoods go, Inner Harbor naturally gets all the glory, but I really loved Hampton, Canton, and my personal favorite, Federal Hill. And that's just naming a few, because seriously, there are a lot of really cool neighborhoods in Baltimore. Also surprising is the amount of transit infrastructure in place. There's a light rail system, a single heavy rail subway line, a free bus circulator, in addition to the regular regional bus service, and, you knew it was coming, a commuter rail system that can get you to DC in under an hour. This is probably the primary reason I have this pair ranked so high at number 2. The train service from Baltimore into DC's Union Station is quick, it's affordable, and it's frequent. Of all the options that I present in this video, this one is easily the most sensible for a daily commute. Amtrak prices are routinely just $11, but if you take the MARC train, which is Baltimore, Maryland's regional system, it only costs $8 each way. And that's for a regular fare. If you're a daily commuter, you could get a monthly pass for just $216 at the time of this recording. I've traveled to DC from Baltimore City or Baltimore Airport close to a dozen times, and either MARC train or Amtrak, it's very easy. As you might expect, there's a large share of commuters to DC from the Baltimore area, and that number is only expected to grow. And finally, we're at number 1. If you've made this far, thank you. You might as well go ahead and like and subscribe. So my number 1 is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And yes, it's kind of funny to have Philly listed as what's essentially a satellite city. The city of brotherly love is famous, and it can go toe-to-toe with all of the primary cities I've listed so far. Philly is right there with them. But when you're paired with New York City, you're gonna be second fiddle. And you're also gonna be listed at my number 1. I love Center City, which is the main downtown area, but my other favorite neighborhoods are University City, Northern Liberties, and Society Hill. However, I have not been to Philly in 7 years, so I still need to check out Fishtown, Brewerytown, and any other areas that have boomed more recently. Still, some things that have not changed are the fact that you have world-class arts and culture, teams from all 5 big league sports, excellent universities, many amazing neighborhoods as mentioned already, loads of historic American landmarks and monuments. I mean, this is a first-tier international cosmopolitan urban area. But as a bonus, you've got Manhattan less than 90 minutes away. I mean, it's hard to top that. Now, the commute is not cheap, but it's worth it for an occasional trip to one of the world's premier cities. I personally have traveled this route by bus and by train, and they're both relatively quick and painless. So there you have it, my top 5 places if you want to save a few bucks but still live that city life while also having easy access to a major international city. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, just drop a note down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you enjoyed that video, please take a second to like and comment down below. And also consider subscribing and smashing that notification bell so that you'll see me next time.